Yo. How's it going, folks? Only took like an hour to get audio working, and I think it's only 50% working at that. Hey, that's actually working. Jamala, what up? Let's see if we can fix this a little more. Probably shouldn't be playing with this right now, but someone type something in chat. All right, there we go. Okay, so it's because it's too short. Okay, that works. That works. I thought it was something else, but it is not. It's working. All right, so we've got at least a little funky looking thing going on there. All right. Are you crazy, Sanch? Are you crazy? No worries, Brandon. No worries. Waiting on your games on Xbox to update. Oh, that's a nasty itch. What is it with you guys and Gollum and Smeagol? Elam, when Xbox Store on mobile? Not anytime soon. It's not so much breaking, Jamala. It's I'm trying to get it so the audio from Discord comes through on a separate channel, so I can get people into the onto the show and have a discussion. But for some reason, it's so temperamental. If I use the desktop audio, it's perfectly fine. It'll pick it up. But then it just picks up all the other Windows notification noises and everything else. And if I'm playing a video as well, it just picks, like, it starts to merge everything. It's just literally from like, I've got the sources set up. It works. I turned OBS off, put it back on, stops working, and something else that isn't even looking in that direction, into the output, decides to say, okay, I'm going to pick up that audio source for no reason whatsoever. You completed Cyberpunk 2077. That is good. That is good. Greetings, React. Got a few things to discuss. Plus, we've got a few videos to look at today as well. But how is everyone today? It's the weekend. What are you all playing this weekend? Me personally, I'm going to try and finish Final Fantasy 16. Might play the 7 remake DLC as well, seeing as it's only 4 hours. Haven't touched that in a long time with Rebirth around the corner. And then probably a bit of Starfield. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Wait, when did I say leave graphics to PC? When did I? Where did I say? What did I say? Oh, in my video. Right. Well, yeah. Sorry, I've been all over the place. Look, you're never going to match PC on the highest fidelity. you're a £500 console at the end of the day. And the more companies are pushing these consoles and the more they're trying to get better, the more and more expensive these consoles are becoming. Gone are the days when a console used to cost £200-300 and people used to be happy. Even at £500 now, it's for many it's out of their reach. So if they start selling consoles at £1,000, at what point is too expensive too much? It's a console in the end, it's not a PC. And if you want 60 FPS and you want that 4K, well, the graphics have to go down. You can't have graphics. A smartphone is a multi-use device, though. It's not the same thing. For most people, you can live without a console, but you can't live without a smartphone. Oh, they won't. And that's why I'm saying, when it comes to the graphics, rein it in a little bit, because you're never going to be as good as them, and you're only sacrificing frames. Mark, do you upgrade your phone every year? I upgrade my phone like once every 5 to 10 years. Early as 5. And at the same time, I don't think I've spent more than £200 for a phone in the past 10, 15 years. Where's my current phone? Is it in my pocket? No. Sure. My current phone is a Samsung S21. I paid £200 for it, brand new, and does everything I need. iPhone users like to upgrade every year, but this is an iPhone 15 Pro. If I upgrade this next year, I can sell this for £1,000, and then I can get the next iPhone for 200 quid. My brother's been doing that for the past, since iPhone 7. 2 weeks before the latest one comes out, he sells it in mint condition. He gets 90% of the money he paid for it back, puts on an extra 20%, 30%, and gets a brand new phone. iPhones don't lose value, at least here in the UK. They don't lose value. Every year, my brother gets his iPhone for £300. Every year. The latest iPhone. All it costs him is £300. But at the end of the day, people won't spend £1,000 for a console. The moment you break through a certain barrier, you're better off building a PC. That is pretty much the way of it. A £1,500 PC will still beat a £1,000 console. Okay, they're broken. Those elements are broken. I guess it did not work the way I wanted it to work. You kind of suck, Stream Elements. If it gets too spammy, I'll go touch them up. But the point I'm making is, the more expensive the hardware is, the more these manufacturers need to pay, need to sell in order to break even. And as we saw with Sony, it ain't happening. The Slim hasn't even covered its R&D cost after selling so many units. And even in 2024, with its estimated 18 million sales, it ain't breaking even. You don't. But this is one that I wanted to talk about. What's your views on this? So Arctic says, I spent $10 on this game in 2019. What the F? You know what? Piracy is okay in my book. And for anyone that's seen Alex's video, because I actually sat down and watched that, I'd love to know what your thoughts and views are on this. If anyone wants to jump onto Discord and air their view, we can do that as well. Plus, it'd be a good test to see if it actually works. Cha-ching. I have 7 consoles at home and the brand is Game Pass. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If the Steam Deck counts, that's 6. 2 Xbox Series consoles, 1 PS5, 1 Switch, PS3, a Wii, and my Steam Deck. But that's the point I was making, Mark. You either want performance or you're going to want graphics. And for the most part, I think people would rather have performance with a higher resolution than the latest graphics and the game running at 30 FPS. I mean, the graphics card that my kid has is running on a 2080 Super. And that's still doing very, very well. Stadia just had that idiot in charge. That's why it failed. Stadia was such a weird concept in the end. Their business model was wrong. They decided to come out as a console, which I think if they stuck it out for another year or two, I think they would have been fine. It's so weird how they decided one day that they're going to go, you know what? Yeah, we're done. And then they decided it's all because of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard that we decided it was time to pack it up. Not the fact that they had a first party studio and they decided to abandon it. Can you imagine if Baldur's Gate 3 came out on Stadia and it got reviewed the way it did? How many people would have signed up to it just to play it? GeForce Now is amazing. Zen. No, it's ABK. After ZeniMax, they were a thing, but the notion of them buying ABK was what broke the back, what broke the camel's back. Once they heard that Microsoft was buying ABK, that was it. They called quits. They jumped ship. To them, that was it. Losing, they believed that they would be losing Call of Duty and all of Activision Blizzard games, and they believed that there was no real surviving after that. To be fair, though, you know, publishers like Ubisoft absolutely murdered them, right? Do you know how much Ubisoft charged them to get Assassin's Creed Odyssey onto Stadia? Luna's dead as well. Luna's already dead. Luna now is a Amazon Prime benefit. That's it. That's all it's good for now. They rotate the games every month, give you 3 or 4 games as because you got Amazon Prime, and they're probably going to use something like that to bump up the price of Amazon Prime again and say, look, we're giving you music, videos, and video games. We want an extra. We're going to increase the price now, even though half the people probably don't use half of those features. But yeah, how much do you think Ubisoft charged Google for Assassin's Creed Odyssey to port it over there? Bearing in mind, it took 2 lines of code to get it to work. How much do you think? Jamala. Okay, Sanchezmtz, you're way off. And Jamala, you are way off too. Give you another 5 seconds and then I'll tell you the answer. $70 million for 2 lines of code to get it working on Stadia. That is what Ubisoft charged them. Pony say third-party exclusives now considered as first-party exclusive to them. Oh yeah, J. Cutler. They have no shame. No shame. They have no shame. They have absolutely zero shame. As soon as that shit went down, that goalpost, they were dragging it before they were even saying anything. Dude, that's one game for 70 million for 2 lines of code. That's abuse. It's not about it being pocket change. That's abuse. They were being abused. And these companies knew that they could charge Google whatever they liked and get away with it. Because Google didn't have a leg to stand on. They wouldn't go to Microsoft and say, hey, we're going to port this game over to you. We want 70 million for 1 line of code. Microsoft will stick their middle finger up at them and say, right, come here. Where's your CEO? Because I'm about to make him an offer he can't refuse, and then fire your ass. Brandon, are you in the thing? Can't guarantee it's going to work, but all right, let's give it a try. See if it works. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, it's working.
That's great.
And chat can hear you too. At least I think chat can hear you.
Hello, chat.
Can you guys hear Brandon? Brandon? Hey, Chris, how you going? Okay, they can hear you. Okay, so my question to you is, what do you think of this? At the moment, as what Alex said, none of the proceeds that you pay to this, because it's a pre-owned game at $70, goes to Nintendo. All of this just goes to the shop owner. So what's the difference between buying this, where none of the money goes to the developer, or you going and just getting the game by other means, and again, none of that money goes to the developer?
Honestly, I've done it before. I've pirated the games before. I don't see a problem with it.
Jamala, I have no idea. I just saw this on Twitter. It might be GameStop. Someone from the US will probably have to confirm that.
I think it is GameStop, yeah.
Because the way I'm looking at it, what Nintendo are now advising is for you to go to pawn shops and retro sites and pay $250, $300 or £300 for some retro games. Like, I mean, just like Alex, I'm going through that same midlife crisis where I'm going through and picking up some games that I want to own. And there's, you know, the Xenoblade series is one of them that I wanted, right?
Yes.
And these games came out in 2019. Like the Switch one came out in 2019 for Xenoblade Definitive Edition. And it's selling for like £80-90 for the standard edition and $500 for the collector's edition. Like, I can't justify that, regardless of how much I want to play it. I can't justify that.
If it's a game from 2019, it shouldn't be that much.
It's because it's not actually published anymore. There isn't, the game isn't being printed anymore.
Then I support piracy for it.
You know, because it's not being printed anymore, just like a Pixel Remaster. If you look at if you go on eBay right now to try and pick up Pixel Remaster for the PlayStation 4, it starts from £500 and it goes all the way up to $900. I've seen it. I've seen it for $1,600 if you get the collector's edition.
That's shocking. If you've got financial means to buy them type of prices, then go for it. But if you haven't...
But at the same time, none of those proceeds are going to the developers. So the question still remains, where does the line, where does the kind of, I feel bad for doing it, stop? Because it's not about not having the money to do it. It's just Timmy over there is trying to abuse the fact that he has a game that people want and he can charge you for 10 times the price for it. It's secondhand. None of that goes to the developers. None of that goes to Sony. Nintendo, in this case. All of it goes to little Timmy.
To stop, I think the way developers might stop this is to go fully digital.
That is the only way to do it. That is why they want to
make their own. Then they will make their own second-hand store if they actually want to do it.
Finebear, I agree. It should have been ported to Steam. Elam, if Xbox Mobile Store releases, Xbox ecosystem will be bigger. They will release a mobile store, but I think they are gonna. It's gonna take a year or so. They need to establish it first, and they probably want to do it with the next Windows phone that's coming, the Surface Duo 3. Publishers don't like piracy, but they often go out of their way to make it so hard to condemn. But like, for example, what was I going to say? Oh, it's gone completely out of my mind. There was a game I wanted to go buy a PS1 game, the original Final Fantasy, because I just can't find it. I know I've got it. I'm going to go looking for it. So I was just looking at the prices. Final Fantasy 1 on the PlayStation 1. Like, no one's going to play that anyway. But I just wanted to own it because I had it. I know I've got it somewhere. And I had like the whole collection because I like collecting Final Fantasy games. Even Final Fantasy 7 Remake, that's kind of new. But it's out of print. they're not printing any more new copies. So it's still selling for 90 quid now.
You're at the mercy of resellers and second-hand stores.
Second-hand stores are selling it for £60 pre-owned. Now, the digital front is the way they can stop it. How long till Final Fantasy Remake comes to Xbox? I don't think it's ever coming to Xbox.
If Xbox flushed the cash, probably would think about it.
No, I think after the Yuffie DLC came out, they extended it for another year or two. And I think they were in talks with Square Enix to make it an indefinite console exclusive like Final Fantasy 16. They tried that as well with Final Fantasy 14, but Yoshi intervened.
Why is it always bad for Xbox to have exclusives, but PlayStation is 100% okay to do it?
That's a question you'll have to ask the FTC, because they seem to love to ride that pony. Never been interested in Final Fantasy, but it might play if it comes to Game Pass. They were all on Game Pass for a while. Sanchez?
Final Fantasy is one of the most popular games I would suggest to people, especially Final Fantasy X. It's my childhood love.
Devastator, I think the Mario 64 in mint condition, still in that kind of plastic casing, went for just over $1 million. Or is it £1 million? I think that's the most expensive game at auction of all time. And it would be a Nintendo game too. But it's the fact that they are, printing so few of these because they want to go to digital. Now, I remember back in the Xbox One days, when they introduced that whole DRM system that everyone hated, they were supposed to have, with Xbox Live, like a family thing. So when you pay for Xbox Live, you have up to like 3 or 4 people on there. And then when you buy a game digitally through the Xbox store, you had the option to refund, trade it back in and get some money back. You'd lose the license to have it on your gamer tag, but you'd get some money back. Unfortunately, when the whole DRM left, that left with it. What are you saying? Aren't they third-party exclusives? Yeah, they are third-party exclusives. I mean, this is the thing. Because they are third-party exclusives, but they're exclusive only to the PlayStation platform. And PC, of course, because they will be coming to PC. Sony wastes its money on third-party exclusives. They shift some consoles, but most PS owners are casuals who buy PS5s because that is where their pals play COD Madden. I mean, those games will always be the most popular, right? COD, Madden, FIFA, they're always going to be the most popular. There's no denying that. But third-party games are also what caters for the other audience who are outside of that bubble. Even if that bubble is 25% of the overall audience, it's enough to captivate that 25%.
For me, I bought a PlayStation 5 for the exclusives. That's it. So most of the time, my PlayStation isn't even on because Xbox is my main platform.
Look at it. These prices of Wii games are insane. Saw some GameCube games last time I visited GameStop in 2022. Someone actually bought Super Mario Sunshine for £90. Do you remember Nintendo released the triple pack? Let me see if I've got it here. And I think they released like so few copies of this. This one here. Do you remember this? You can't buy this anymore. You can get it on eBay, but it doesn't.
I remember that one.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's got Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy, all in one. But you can't buy this anymore. They actually had a limited date on when this would be available, even digitally. after that digital date, well, that set date, it would come off the digital store as well. Like, it's crazy the FOMO that they did. They made bank on that game. You've got the triple pack. PS5 doesn't have much that interests me. I mean, outside, if you don't like the exclusive games that they do, then it's gonna be a very, very lonely console. But you know, I watched Alex's video and looking at these prices and recently just trying to get back what I lost. Well, I can't find because I know they're in a box somewhere. I'm hoping there's one more place I'm gonna look, but you know, these prices just make it like
Very
I'm
much
sorry.
justifiable.
Yeah, it's like I can't justify it, especially when I know I'm not gonna play it. That's like throwing money into the bin.
If you're a super fan of the game, then buy it. But if you know you're not going to play it, then what's the point buying it?
Collectors. That's literally it. You just want it there on your shelf. Like Alex puts it, it's a midlife crisis. I'll take it. All right, we'll move on to our next topic. Starfield has made it into Steam's 2023 bestsellers despite negative reviews on the platform. Starfield was one of the best performing games on Steam this year, alongside Baldur's Gate 3, Destiny 2, Sons of the Forest, and more. And so this is the best selling games on Steam for 2023. I don't know if this is in order.
I'm so annoyed that Hogwarts Legacy didn't get any recognition this year.
But how is Hogwarts Legacy so low compared to Starfield and thing? It made the most revenue. It had the most concurrent players.
It was probably due to the hate it got, and Steam didn't really want to get involved.
But this is only Steam, Finebear. Controller, I can totally agree. You know, understand that. I can totally understand that. It's not in order. Okay. That makes more sense because Counter-Strike 2 should have been top, right? They see a scarf there and it's like, oh my god, I've got to spend 25k on that. But yeah, Starfield appearing on this list is insane.
It's a good game, but it has its problems.
Every game has their problems. Every game has their problems. No game is flawless. COD has its problems. Counter-Strike has its problems of its monetization. Less said about Cyberpunk, the better. I'm surprised Destiny 2's there. I mean, Baldur's Gate was pretty much a bug fest when it launched.
There's been an update
Diablo.
about the player.
Yeah, the person that got banned. Microsoft is reversing it and trying to put in now safeguards to stop other people from getting banned. But the general consensus is don't upload nudity.
Took them a while to actually start sorting stuff out.
Well, it's a Microsoft problem. It's not a thing problem. Oh my god, Diablo, you're playing Destiny 2. Why do you hate yourself so much?
I only played Destiny 2 for 4 hours and that's it. Just couldn't play it anymore. It was not my type.
I played it for years. I don't know, it didn't take him that long. Silver? Didn't take him that long at all. Now, according to Microsoft, the Ryzen 5 300X and the 57 is more powerful than the Series X. I get 60 FPS in Starfield. It could be. I mean, yeah. I don't see why not. Don't forget, like, isn't The Radeon 5700? Are you sure? That's an old graphics card, man. Yeah, for me this year, I think Lightfall killed it. Last year, sorry. Lightfall killed it. Lightfall was the end for me. Lightfall was so bad that I think watching paint dry while using a grater to grind your nuts was probably a lot more entertaining. At least you
I
would have
just
felt some
got that
kind
image.
at least you would have felt some form of sensation.
Ouch.
But with Lightfall, it was so bad. Like, even, that dude's death, you're like, yeah, I didn't see that coming from like 10 minutes away or half an hour away. Like, no one saw that coming, right? Vaseline graphics, but FPS is better resolution. No worries, Devastator. The 5700 is like 2 years old. I guess the AMDs are still called Radeon, aren't they? Yeah, I just call them AMD now. I don't call them by the Radeon name. I call them RX.
Right,
Don't
I
mix
need
up
to
with the
get
RX.
going now.
Yeah, that's alright, dude. Thanks for joining and testing it out.
No problem. Bye.
I've paused the current campaign, just finished week 1, and I'm still debating whether to buy Final Shape. All I will say is with Final Shape, if you buy Final Shape, you don't need to buy the season pass and stuff with it if you just want to see the story through, because it ends with Final Shape and a new story begins after Final Shape. But I see Bungie giving up on Destiny as well. It's quite obvious. Bife is a good way to do it. Sucks I paid year sub to Destiny 2 and quit after Lightfall. Yeah, Sanchez, me the same. Me the same. But Lightfall was just so bad. Seriously, PlayStation, stop. God damn it. They won't stop. That's the 9th notification I've got today from PlayStation letting me know, just in case I missed it, that what game was it? Catherine, that's it. Catherine is on sale. 9th notification today to let me know that Catherine is on sale. I'm starting to think that the person that's sending out those notifications is the same one that works at IGN. Bungie is more focused on the new game. Bungie is more focused on saving the company than anything else right now, because they're about to get unemployed. Final Fantasy 16 will be coming to Xbox this year, according to Nate DeHate. That will be interesting to see, because I know for a fact Sony tried to get that game indefinitely exclusive. That one, that much I do know. They tried that, and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. They moved in off to try and make it indefinitely thing. Well, you're obviously waiting for it to go down in price. What am I waiting for it to go down in price? The RTX 460i or the 370 would be PS5-ish. So wait, you're saying no? The PS5? No, it's much weaker than that. Digital Foundry have a video that shows you the equivalence of their graphics card. I think it's like an AMD 3600 or something. I'm glad they got my tip to send you. We've seen those FF rumors before. Yeah, I don't see it. $4.5 billion for Bungie to help PlayStation Studios make gas. No return on interest. That purchase. Yep. I mean, that was bad. Did you get a notification from Xbox that Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were on Game Pass ready to play now, but they're not? No, I didn't. But did you know that Catherine is on sale right now on the PlayStation Store? I know this because I literally just now heard my phone vibrate, and I can guarantee that it is another notification from PlayStation. I don't even have to look. I just know these things. Does Blade have a better chance of showing up on PS5 than Final Fantasy showing up on Xbox? Fine. I'm actually going to say probably yes. Not all Final Fantasy, just Final Fantasy 16 and 7. There's a good chance that 17 will appear on Xbox. But I mean, the graphics chip inside the consoles are pretty much running off the thing, right? Yeah, I'd have to have a look at the video. At least Sony let you know. Yeah, they're desperate for that money, aren't they? They're desperate for that money. Money. So what do you lot think of this? Stalker. It's the pre-order bonus is now available to download. Yeah, the CPU I've got in my kid's PC is an AMD 3600. Really nice CPU. Best for both Sony and Bungie if Bungie just goes Fire Sprite as well. I mean, Firewall Ultra is no more, right? They turned around and said that there's no support for the VR market for AAA gaming. And they're going bust. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was trying to say. 7-digit. But could Stalker drop in first quarter? Yeah, first contact. But they're gone. Or they're going anyway. Of course not, Ati. No one supports the PSVR 2. I have one, and there's more dust on it than actual gameplay. Stalker 2's the shadow drop? Nah. Stalker 2 won't be the shadow drop. That's going to have at least a bit of PR. You know, all this talk about the shadow drop, and I don't even I don't even know where it came from. I know we saw this one French article say that there's going to be a shadow drop, but is that really the only source that we have? But yeah, the OD trailer, which pretty much was nothing. It was just a little teaser of some people talking and a scream. 25 million views. And promoted to seeking independence after Sony fired the third. Yep. I mean, from what I read on Glassdoor, which is a UK website where people that work there can basically leave anonymous reviews about the company. After Sony went in there, they completely destroyed the culture of Fire Sprite. It's Sony really just ruined that company. I mean, this game, It's weird. I'm excited for it, but I know nothing about it. I just like the fact that it's unique and supposed to be a horror game. And I get really let's just say I'm not the bravest when it comes to these sorts of games. If only the VODs on Twitch were still active, I'd have uploaded one of my Halloween videos of me streaming this random game on Steam. Oh my god. That was some freaky shit. It was bad. It got real bad, chat. Real bad. I don't think Sony have the option to leave. They don't have the luxury of what happened with ABK. Sony owned them. No matter how you want to look at it and whatever that contract says and what people are saying about their independence and what, they have the creative freedom, Sony owned them. Half of that board already, 40% of that board is already Sony. All they have to do is turn around to one of them and say, look, I want you to vote in favor of me. And remember, I'll scratch your back when the time comes. Or better yet, just cut their funding. You don't want to agree with me? I'm just going to cut your funding. Kill the company. At the end of the day, their lifeline is owned by Sony. So all this, they're independent and all this, no, they're not. And this was proven when Sony turned around to them and said, you need to cut X amount of staff, but you can pick who the hell you want. If they were independent, Sony wouldn't have turned around and told them that. You bought everything on Steam once? But like, who spends almost $4 billion and says, okay, you've got all control. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to remove all power from me. I've just spent $4 billion, but you know what? I'm going to revoke all my rights to this company. No one says that. And anyone that tries to convince me that they would say that, unless you're Elon Musk, and even he wouldn't say it, but unless you're as rich as him or more, no. But OD, 25 million views and counting. Chris, I agree. They made a bad choice with Bungie. Bad choice. They made as bad a choice as humanly possible. And you know what? I am still thirsty. Let me see if I've got my bottle here. I do. Having Chinese today has definitely given me the thirst. Like, Bungie could have been a very, very profitable company for them if Bungie was the old Bungie. They are not the old Bungie. Was that the problem? Is Sony doesn't know how to do live service games. They've got no one. None of their studios are built around it. They are. They're well past it. But what do you think of the news about Horizon going to PC and mobile, but not PlayStation 5? I mean, I expect it to go to PS5 as well, but the fact that they didn't mention the PS5 It's a good troll point. It's really good. Well, the listing on for a new job for Horizon. Well, they said that they're working on a new game for PC and mobile, and it's quite clearly the new Horizon MMO. But PS5 wasn't mentioned at all. I know, but still, at least release it, make it compatible, right? What's the difference? It's their own franchise. It's like Microsoft going, right, we're gonna release Halo Infinite. Yeah, just we're not gonna put it on Xbox though. Fuck them. We're gonna put it on PC and mobile. Like, you what, mate? It's just uh yeah, the new Horizon MMO. It's hilarious. You can't make that shit up, man. Ah, shit. We come to this, boys. We come to this. You thought that skin in that mobile gacha game for $100 was crazy? You thought that car pack for $25 was crazy? What about Star Citizen's $48,000 bundle? I still want Sony and Microsoft to be friends and work on a crossover game. Forza Horizon Forbidden West, Cars versus Robots, Dinosaurs. That would be good. And what if I told you, chat, that someone's already bought it? Anime compilations, it's already out. You can jump in and play it. I mean, I've got it. I don't know if my PC can actually run it and stream at the same time. That's I guess I could potentially try at some point. It's a very demanding game, but you can play it. It's got different, it's got a bunch of planets you can go to. It's got bounties you can do. You can, you know, gather resources and make money and go and buy new ships. But in terms of the story, that's coming with the sandbox game called Squadron 42. If you've seen my videos talking about it, Squadron 42 is essentially the sandbox game of Star Citizen. Star Citizen is just its kind of own multiplayer sandbox where you can just go about and do whatever you like, riddled with bugs. But it's fun. And it only costs like, what, £30 entry? I like it. Nah, still on alpha. Being on alpha gives them the reason to get away with everything. I don't know. I've never seen a $48,000 bundle. I've never seen a $48,000 bundle. I mean, I do know that they have tiers for VIP depending on how much you spend. And the platinum tier is like, I think if you spend like 25,000 or more in the game. Like, I was listening to an interview where they interviewed one of the whales, right? And in Star Citizen, if you lose your ship, it gets stolen or it blows up or it gets, towed away, whatever. You have to wait like, I think it's half an hour or 2 hours before you can just basically get your ship back because you've got insurance. You claim it through the insurance. It takes like an hour to claim your ship back. And the whale turned around and said, "Yeah, I didn't want to wait for that hour, so I bought 2 of the ships at $3,000 each. So in case one of them go bad, I've got a backup immediately available, and by the time that I finished with what I'm doing, the one that's been under insurance should be ready. So my dude spent $6,000. Like, my dude, what? I've seen that $20,000 ship. Yeah, some of them are crazy, man. That vertical ship was dirty though. Lau, I guess you actually play Star Citizen, but that vertical ship, the one that looked like Ghost from Destiny, that was dirty. I saw so many people crashing with that, just trying to land it. No, Jamala, you just get I think it's like 20 ships, 20 ships, 25 ships, something like that. It's not one ship, but still, $48,000 is a lot of money. But I think Squadron 42 has a small chance coming out this year, by the end of this year. But if it misses that, it should be here next year. At least the single player version of the game should be coming out within the next 2 years. You've all seen the Squadron 42 trailer, right? Yeah, we looked at Killing yesterday. I mean, those pictures were obviously very early in development, but I don't know. It didn't leave me very excited. That's because EVE Online doesn't have a game. Edward. But Dragon Quest could be good. I mean, I think if Microsoft went down that route, honestly, I think Dragon Quest in Japan is probably bigger than Final Fantasy. I think they're now on between 6 and 700 million. All right, here's a good one for you. Here's a good one for you. Here's a good one for you. Right. So, this is a true story, by the way. Facts. So no BS. Star Citizen community wanted to know the latest patch notes. You know, what's coming in the upcoming patch that they're doing. So the developers were like, you know, the community team were like, nope, we're not saying anything. You'll find out when we release the patch notes. Nothing at all. We're not even giving anything to the content creators. You'll find out when we're ready to release it. So the community decided, right, we need to do some Mission Impossible thinking here. How are we going to get this information? We can't really coerce them into it because they're not going to give it. So they took one of the developers out, got him drunk, and the developer spilled everything. Now the forums are flooded with the patch notes. Oh. They got the guy drunk and the guy just let rip. He just said everything. The community team came in the next morning, start reading the forums and the Reddits, and they're like, wait, what? Where the hell did they get this information? See the guy come in. Yeah, how are you doing, guys? Nah, they weren't happy, but There's all sorts of shit that happened. It's like they spoke about a feature that they were thinking about incorporating. So the community started going, "All right, guys, it's confirmed. We're getting this feature." And he goes, "No, no, no. We're in. We're thinking about it. We're seeing if we can concept it, guys. That's confirmed speech that it's coming." 2 months later, when a patch lands, yo, where's that feature you said that was coming? We didn't say it was coming. You did. You said it was in concept. That's code speak for it in ready. No, no, no. We were talking about it and we decided not to. And then a week later, they released it. Hey, Brick, how's it going? But my favorite, absolute favorite troll that the devs did, right? They put a breadcrumb inside the code. And it basically hinted at something there. And so, you know, the data miners, they go in looking for everything and they found something. For 3 months, they were scouring the game, the locations, to try and find what this thing was. Right? And then they had like a vlog, you know, a Vidoc. And they go, by the way, to all of you that found this line of code in the data mining, we just wanted to know we were fucking with you. We put it there deliberately because we knew you'd find it, but there's nothing actually there. That's a null code. And yeah, you probably wasted more than 3 months of your life looking for it. Thanks. Fucking biggest troll ever. Our community gets played. But like, in regards to that community, they give as good as they get. The developers troll them, they troll the developers. But they basically sent the community on a wild goose chase for data mining, and there was nothing actually there. They deliberately put it in there just to make them run around like headless chickens. And then they came out and said, "We were just fucking with you guys." That's what you call, you know, grade A trolling. So we come to the big story of the day. Now, this one is actually pretty big, right? Because it looks like the actual PlayStation Slim, even in 2024, is unlikely to cover the R&D cost of the PS5 Slim. No, Jamal, it's never there. It's never been a thing. It never was a thing. They just put it there as an ambiguous line of code to make people think that there was something coming or that something was there in the area or in that region or something, so they could go and think. Like, for example, they put these warp rings into the game and they found it in the data mine code, and then they decided to take their ships out to the furthest reaches part of the galaxy to see if they could find it. It took them a little while, but eventually they found it. So usually when the developers try to hide something in the far off reaches of the galaxy, they still manage to find it because they can data mine it. But this one, they put the thing in the code, but nothing else in the actual thing, in the actual game. So it's quite funny. But what do you think of this? I'd love to get your views on this. If anyone wants to chime in on the good old Discord, let me know, and we can have a chat. But it looks like that the PlayStation 5 isn't going to you know, it's not doing well. As of December the 27th, according to the Sony will sell around, you know, this was what they said on the December 27th, sell around 18.5 million units in 2024. Their target is 25 million. They're not going to hit that target, obviously. But they haven't even, covered the R&D costs. Colt fist pumping gas right now, like we did it, boys. But if anyone has any thoughts and wants to jump into Discord, now's a good time to do it. Just don't have a background noise, if you don't mind. But my question is, like, if they can't cover the cost of R&D for this, how are they going to do the PS5 Slim or the PS6? The PS5 Pro is going to require a hell of a lot more than 18.5 million units, considering it's going to cost more. You wonder where the R&D money goes? Well, having looked inside the PS5, there's still a lot of, I mean, it's pretty much a PC, but there's still stuff in there that is custom. There's still quite a bit in there that's custom built for the form factor. For example, the throughput from the RAM and the VRAM on PC is 1:8 in terms of flow. On PlayStation 5, it's 256-bit. That's a big difference. That's why it can actually, calculate data so quickly. Sony did a good job with the PS5. He squeezed out and pushed the areas that mattered rather than it just being a basic PC. So it's still interesting. MSI Q the OLED gaming monitors. Oh, this one? PS Plus Extra added $7,500 worth of games in 2023, topping the 5,000. Well, that's not true because Game Pass had 9,000. But that's the Xbox tax. It was 9,000. But that's the Xbox tax, boys. Right there. That, my boys, is the Xbox tax. Xbox taxation is 5,000. Oh. God damn it, Auntie. As you can see, as while the PlayStation 5 Slim is selling well, its sales are not enough to outperform PS4 sales in a similar time frame. Still, it is doing well. While sales not hitting their targets, even with the success of the PS5, is not a major issue now, it may be a much bigger issue in the next console generation, which isn't all that far off now. According to Game Industry Japan, conversations with third parties revealed how difficult it is to recover the current huge development cost with an install base of 100 million units, as even porting titles to Xbox, consoles, and PCs doesn't help all that much. I kind of say yes and no to that. At the end of the day, it depends on how much that port is going to cost and how many units it's going to sell. If each platform sells like 2-3 million units, then yes, it's going to help a lot. If they sell 500 units each, like say Sackboy did on PC, then it's not going to do well. No. Uh, the price of PlayStation's parts went up with inflation, so that's why they increased the price. The reason why they have the PS5 Slim as opposed to the PS5 is because the parts in the Slim are just easier to source as opposed to the silicon that's used inside the PS5 Fat, I guess you can call it, which are more difficult to collect. Devastator, welcome back. Hey, it's as slim as me, right? Look at that belly. I'm slim too. You like that belly, right? I'm as slim as a good old twig in a tree. Not the thick twigs, the thin twigs. But yeah, I think this is. It's smaller. That's all it is. It's kind of like gone down in proportion. You see, whole grain, you're actually eating better. You're living up to your New Year's resolution. I had Chinese tonight. Part homemade, part store bought. The wife can make a really, really nice sweet and sour chicken, but she cannot do the rice. She cannot do the rice. You know, it's just one of those things that is way past what she can do. So I told her, you make the sweet and sour, I'll buy the rice. It was a good compromise. It worked. And I actually think she makes it better than our local Chinese as well, which is weird. It has racing strips to make it, you think it. He's talking about these strips here. I don't like the two tone, the kind of the two tone finish that it's got. But it's interesting. Has anyone seen this game? It's called Stuffed. It's a PC and Xbox exclusive, apparently. Let me know if you can hear the sound. No. This is exclusive to Xbox and PC. What do you think? There is sound. Apparently there's going to be PvP on there as well, but I don't know. It's just there's literally been no marketing for this at all, so you can see how Microsoft already feel about this. Like, why bother even funding it? I mean, this is literally going to go onto Game Pass, right? It has to be. It looks like it's just Game Pass fodder. I'm going to be right back. I want to cover this because I actually received threatening stuff about this as well quite a few months ago. So I want to cover this real quick. But give me about 2 minutes. I just need to go around and sort something out. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. All right, boys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Had to sort something out. Wait. What's Clutch doing in here? What's Clutch doing in here? Yo. No. What are you giving them bad ideas for? Go away. Right, your allowance is cut. Your allowance is cut. You forget I control your allowance. Worth it. Let's see how you feel when it actually is cut. Hey, chat, how's it going? So over here it says, we wanted to share with you what truly destroyed us, our game and our studio. Please read the whole thing and retweet our story further. This has to end. Bob Vids and his community finally stopped their harassment. So they actually made a game. What is it called? It's this one here. Stray Souls. And I was actually looking to stream this and play it. But apparently the owner of the studio liked a anti-trans post, I guess, something like that. And so anyone that was posting on their social media immediately received a bunch of threatening emails, and I was one of them. I actually liked the look of the game. It reminded me of Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2, the originals. It had that vibe going for it. But I started receiving all sorts of threatening emails where they were going to dox me, find out where I live. They were threatening my family if I attempted to even touch this game. Like all sorts of shit. So I didn't want the headache. I reported it to the police and everything. Showed them all the evidence of what I was getting, but it stopped. I don't know if it was these guys. Probably not. But for about almost 10 days, it was pretty much non-stop abuse that I was getting just because I said I liked the way this game looked and I wanted to stream it. Literally for that reason. So I haven't actually read this yet, but I wanted to go over it because just by showing an interest in this game, I had an angry mob that literally wanted to take me out. So today, after consulting with our lawyers, we have decided not to hide the identity of this terrible person who was harassing us any longer. We don't want more creators to fall victim to this online harassment. We are talking about Bob Vids, the person behind all these troubles that befell us. For all I know, it could have been the same guy that was actually attacking me. Let's start from the beginning. The start of the production was a beautiful time for us. We were happy to finally fulfill our goals and create the game of our dreams. We had the support of an amazing publisher who unfortunately also got shut down. Together, we wanted to create a special horror game. Unfortunately, our Bob Vids had a different plan. His hatred for one of our developers began quite incessantly because he used to work for Blooper Team. As you can see in some of the attached screenshots under the post and comments, this person's activity is focused on insulting, mocking, and tormenting other developers. Okay, this one wasn't the one that was harassing me. Especially Blooper Team and its employees. After some time, one of our developers decided to leave Blooper Team and start their own studio, Jukai Studio. Of course, it didn't take long for Bob Vids and his community to target the newly established studio of a former Blooper Team member. This time, it involved much more serious activities bordering on stalking and criminal behavior. This individual likely manipulated close circles to start searching for any online mistakes on our developers so that he could write and torment the person, making them deal with cyberbullying instead of focusing on game production. This led almost throughout the entire production period of Stray Souls. This person stalked our developers and searched for any flaws until he finally found 4 posts that allegedly were liked by one of our creators. Okay, so it is the same person that actually attacked me. This is probably the same person. I emphasize that this was stalking and searching for anything they could latch onto. When they finally found something to criticize, and that post that they create, it wasn't. I don't think it was a creator. I think it was. They told me. I think it was like the owner of Jukai. Basically, there was like some anti-trans protests that were happening, and he liked a couple of those posts. Right, that was it. Now, regardless of what position you stand on for these trans or pro-trans or anti-trans, at the end of the day, people are allowed to think what they want. If you don't like it, you can block them, you move on. Freedom of speech is a thing. It's not illegal to have an opinion. You either like it or you don't. But these people took it to another level. When they finally found something to criticize, our hell began. A hell where we are still dealing with depression, anxiety, and one of our developers who became the biggest victim with suicidal thoughts. At BobVids, his community and actions caused trauma to the many people who worked on Stray Souls and did nothing wrong. This person and his group consistently sent hundreds of unwanted messages to our community. Yep, I got it. People associated with the game, the publisher, our teams of our publisher, and our close ones. Despite blocking, please stop this horrible activity. These individuals created new accounts and continued relentlessly. As a result, we couldn't focus on creating the game. Instead, we had to deal with these horrible people. These individuals even tried to deceive one of our creators, as seen in the attached screenshots, under the name Vanessa Berger. What a name. To make him do, say, or write something against himself. Later, they attempted to distort reality with their lies and hatred. In reality, instead of creating a game, we were defending ourselves against the attacks of these anonymous people, which never ceased until the game's release. Please do not let yourselves be manipulated. We must fight against such behavior. People on the internet feel invulnerable, ruining the lives of others, often leading to depression and even suicide. In our case, the closure of the studio and the disastrous game the disastrous game release. When the game launched, it was buggy as hell, in which everyone believed but couldn't achieve due to what happened occurred. If you were also a victim or have any evidence in this case, received an email, message, or anything resembling what you see in the screenshots, I've still got them. Please contact us via private message. We are collecting evidence in this matter, and soon we will know the true identities of the other individuals who sent these messages, which will result in holding them legally accountable. Yeah, I'll send my evidence to them, regardless of what their political views are, which I really don't care about. I just care about playing video games. I had a lot of threatening emails sent to me. This sort of shit should not be happening. Hi there, I felt compelled to reach out. There is someone emailing random people who like or follow your posts about Stray Souls. I got one of those emails sending links and saying slanderous things about the game dev and studio. Yeah, I didn't click the... Awesome, sorry that Bob is going to try to cancel you. Yeah. That's the post that I was... This is the one that I was shown. In the following examples, you can see that despite that you're pleased, they continue sending you unwanted mails. You're interested in promoting the upcoming horror game Stray. Not to police your buzzkill, but I thought I'd share the creators. Yeah, this is exactly the email I got. This is exactly the type of email I got. They sent me 3 or 4 Twitter links and basically telling me that they had transphobic tweets. That was the exact email that I got. It's shocking that this dude would go out of his way to do that. What a sad, pathetic piece of shit. That sounds like what the ponies would do. They are out of their minds. I don't know, dude. Like, all I wrote down on one of their tweets when I saw the game, because it, where is it? What, it was Stray Souls, right? Let me go here. Where's the trailer? I don't know. This game just reminded me of Silent Hill. I just like the vibe it gave. See, the thing is, Brick, they contacted me on my business email, not my personal email, and it wouldn't stop. It looked interesting. When it came out, it was buggy as hell, unfortunately. Lots of problems. But that now explains why it was buggy as hell. Because the game had all sorts of problems.
When my grandmother died, she left me her house. My own place. No rent, no mortgage. I thought I'd won the lottery.
But this to me just looked like a really good game.
But all that changed after I met Martha. There's no way this is real. What the hell?
Look, I get that this is all really weird, but there are a few things you need to understand. I know some things about your grandmother. Best I can piece it together, she was someone pretty high up in a secret society.
Martha says
It looks interesting, right? Like it looks at least worth a look. If you like horror games. Man, I'm surprised they didn't bother continuing Parasite Eve.
Every family's got secrets, but not like mine.
Daniel, no!
And that game looks freaky, man. Fuck that. This is why, you know, fuck around with games like that. What the fuck is Jimquisition doing? Fuck off. Prick. But it was disappointing. Like, once I started like getting 10 days worth of emails, I decided, you know what? I don't need that headache, and I just left it. But what did you think of that game? It looked alright, no? Hey, Clutch, if you're still there, bring me a drink. I know you're listening. I don't know, but I saw this and Clutch should definitely do it. And it's disappointing that they've actually shut the studio down. The publisher shut down as well. That's full on attack. No good. But onto the news of Xbox. What do you think the shadow drop is going to be? Do you think it's going to be killing? Jamala, shut it. Do you think it's going to be killing or something else? So quiet today in chat. So we've got this. I've got a couple of videos here to react to. Well, that one's just a trailer I wanted to check out. So it's just these two here. Well, that defends Edward. See, if you're in the Midlands in the UK, they pronounce it film. I pronounce it film. So, depending on which part of the UK you're in, or I guess the world you're in, you're either going to pronounce that as killing or kiln. I actually don't know the correct pronunciation. But did anyone actually watch this video? %63% is pretty close to double of 37. How is it? How is 63%? No, you go away. Now, all I'm saying is, depending on where you actually are based, different people pronounce it different ways. A journalist when it's time to be awarded, but not one when it's time to report on leaks. Yeah, I chose film as well. Xbox Developer Direct coming mid-January. Xbox showed 5 games last year. How many will they spotlight this year? You know what? If it is the 25th that they're actually going to be showing the showcase, I'm going to have this on the side and do like a little bingo for those of you that are going to tune in on the day, because I am going to be streaming it live on this channel. We could do like a bingo to see how many of them actually get chalked off. The only one I think is definitely not going to be on there is this one. Man, where is my dude? He's not thing. You off, Steve? Come on, look at that shit. Look at that ship. That's a bargain for 48,000. Oh, you just got it. Okay. That's a bargain. For 48,000 bucks. That's a bargain. Where is Clutch? I want my drink. Clutch, I want my drink. Just sending him like a million messages until he replies. Seeing as he tried to troll me earlier. Oh yeah. There are certain ship like there's this one ship in the game that you can only get after you've spent $25,000. It's quite funny. But you can actually board his ship while he's flying around, kill him, and steal his ship. I mean, he can reclaim it back, obviously, because he's got like insurance for it, but my God. That's hilarious. There you go. Players whose capture clips have been flagged on Xbox should now see their bans begin to lift. Oh no. Oh God. This is the team behind this is the team behind QE. We will be revealing the announcement, teaser, trailer, and name of our next game. Oh God, they're back, people. They're back. Team Kill Media is back. This is the people behind Quantum Error. That's a good fish and chips. That is a good fish and chips. You don't need the peas or the gravy, but that's a good fish and chips. How is he so loud around there? Hey, do you want to say hi to the chat?
No.
Go on. Don't be so shy.
Please.
They already saw you.
I don't want to.
You don't want to?
No.
But they can hear you.
Hi.
Tell that donkey around there to keep his voice down. You don't need the mushy peas. I hear Sony TVs are going the TheChaosLounge route. I see. They know their fan base. One step closer to paying off the house. Destin made $25 in ad revenue. Let's go. By the way, for those of you that don't know, Epic Game Store is giving away Guardians of the Galaxy for free. Squiggles, you didn't message me on Discord. You need to message me on Discord. But what question do you have? I did QA and I did project lead for Football Manager, couple of PS2 games, Virtua Tennis. I was working on Sega Rally when it was coming out for the PSP, I think it was. I did a little bit of work on Sonic 2006, although I wasn't involved in that project much. And a few other games. But I started off as QA and then worked my way up to project lead. Just send me a message. Discord. I'm guessing Taz isn't here. Let me Let me get an invite for you. Is this the right place? No, it's Dream Elements. So what's the #1 game you want to see appear at the Game Awards? Not the Game Awards. The Developers Direct. All right, here we go. That is my Discord. Bro, with a $40 starter bundle, you could go on Star Citizen, invest 300 hours on sitting on your ship, flouting about pirate settlements and sniping them, and then rob them and get that 48,000 bundle. You could. It would just take a while. I mean, I've got Star Citizen, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. My problem with that is the server wipes that they do every so often. Oh, thanks, Stream Elements. You waited until I posted it and then you posted it as well. Asshole. Such a damn troll. But apparently, you know, the PlayStation, you know, they're saying PlayStation should basically do what Xbox is doing in releasing a Series S and X version to combat. Sorry, 1 second, chat. So what do you think about that? Do you think it would actually work for Sony if they released a 2-tier system rather than a PS5 Pro? Do you guys want to check this out and how crazy it can actually get for Tetris? I think Sony Xbox is going to stick to the 2 systems. I think they're going to stick to it. It makes sense for at least in Japan anyway. Well, the PS5 is selling at a profit, right? I don't know about the Xbox, but the PS5 is selling at a profit. The PS5 after year 1 was selling at a profit. Up to year 1, they were selling at a loss. But after year 1, with whatever they did, they started selling at a profit. It wasn't until midway through year 3 where inflation hit, and then they started selling at a loss, and then they increased the price by $50, and then they started selling it at a profit again. It doesn't need to be significant, Steve. Even if it was £1, the fact is it's not costing them anything. And more people are getting PlayStations. At the end of the day, it's not about whether the console is profitable or not. It's how many households it can actually enter. The bigger your market share, the more power you have over third parties. That's always been the case. Microsoft has a very strong position when it comes to the cloud and, Game Pass, because there's not really anyone out there competing with it. And we've seen the benefits that Game Pass can give for, games that aren't like big and popular, but kind of like in the middle of the table for third party, the ones that have a risk factor. They're quite popular on Game Pass, and it's done relatively really, really well for them. I don't think we've had like a super high AAA game that we know is going to sell buckets appear on Game Pass yet. It'd be interesting to see how that performs. Oh yeah, for sure. But the problem with the PC market is they're a lot more ruthless. They're a lot more ruthless, right? Especially on Steam with that, 2-hour return policy. See, us console gamers, we will play a game. We'll buy a game, play it, it's broken, and then we'll say, right, I'll come back to it in 3 months' time. And you'll come back in 3 months' time and say, right, it's actually fixed now, I can play it. Redfall is a prime example of that, right? Redfall is now fully playable. It's actually a good game, and it's even better in multiplayer. It's actually a lot of fun. We were playing it the other, I think it was on New Year's Eve, if I'm not mistaken, with Steve and Lionheart. It was a lot of fun. So, with console gaming, you kind of go back. With PC, you don't. They're a lot more ruthless. They'll try the game. If it's not up to snuff or whatever, not what they want, they've got that grace period to refund it. On console, you don't have that. So you don't have that grace period. Once you've started playing it, you're stuck with it. And I feel like that's a big deal when it comes to PC games. They don't adhere to it, I'll tell you that much. Oh, sorry. No, I don't think they'll relaunch Redfall. I think all they're going to do at this point with Redfall is just improve upon it. If they decide to release DLC for it, that's when they'll push the game. But if they're not going to release DLC, I can't see them doing like a relaunch or anything like that, unfortunately. So there's news of... Yeah, but the PC market is very unforgiving. This has always been the case. They don't forgive. They do not forgive. Hey, what do you think of my cup? Pretty sweet, huh? You do know that in order for Steam to have given back to, that return policy that's Steam has, Steam didn't actually want to give that return policy, right? They were forced after they lost the court case in Australia to actually give that 2 hour. Steam didn't actually want to give that policy. Then again, which company would? What the hell have people been watching on my account? I feel like my account is fucked. My kids have had access to my account. I'm not happy. The fuck? Oh, there goes my fucking YouTube channel. Gonna have to go and delete all the history again. No, I've got 2 YouTube channels. I got this one, which is the one I use for this. And then I've got my personal one. Me? None of that shit. I do like watching Dragon's Den though. That was me. But again, I watch it on my other channel. I mean, not even Nikkei was on there. And I do like watching Nikkei. But what do you think of the notion of Xbox announcing games that are coming so late in the day? Like that list that we were seeing. Where is it? That Cult put out. Where's the list? It should be here soon. This one. What if some of these are like, let's say that one's like 2 years out. This is still 2 years out. That would be like a total of like 3 years before we actually even see it. Do you think developers like or Microsoft, Sony should stop doing that? Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like even Avowed, they announced that way too early. Like I know they're teasers, and we've seen the same with Concord, right? I mean, just look at Concord. I mean, they totally ripped off Starfield, right? That much is obvious. This is totally ripped off Starfield. It's got that same kind of vibe.
Contract site coming up. 15 seconds.
This just reminded me of that Starfield vibe. Even with like the colors over there.
5, 4, 3.
The sandwich instead of the burger.
Here we go.
I think that's the part that did it for me. Because I'll probably get it for PC because it's going to be cheaper. It's going to play better. It's going to look better. Well, in theory, at least. But the key part here is that it's going to be cheaper. Right? All right, here's one for you guys. I actually saw a scene today from an Xbox game that I played years ago. What's the saddest scene that you've seen in a video game? What ranks up there really high? Yeah, Dom. This one for me. This was bad. You know, I really want to sit down and play through get this game again. They really need to hurry up with that Gear 6. Oh, I did, Ati, I did. But my dude knew what he was doing. This was such an emotional scene, but that music that they played right at the end, which is definitely going to get me copyrighted, so I'm probably going to try and speak through it just to see if I can evade it and then make a claim at the end. But yeah, the Mad World. See, the thing that's happening now, I think games are just taking too long to come out. Franchises that we have been expecting for years are just taking too long to come out. I don't even care if they reuse assets at this point. Gear 6 should have been here by now. Yeah, Steve, we've got to hit this shit up. No way, man. Man, when this scene happened and I saw that for the first time, I teared up, man. This hit me real bad. Because the relationship between Marcus and Dom up until this point was built up so beautifully. I mean, Edward, I agree, but if in Bungie's case, they use it for the whole game. They literally, I mean, literally 99% of their game is asset flip. But this was bad, man. I really, really hoped that, you know, in Gears 4 or 5, Dom would have kind of come back like with a miraculous recovery. I really did. I didn't want him out.
Marcus! He's gone! He's gone! There's nothing you can do! Stop
Get off me! God damn it! Let me get him out of there!
It's okay, Marcus. It's okay. Come on.
Now you can tell these aren't like mocapped,
Still needs us.
but can you imagine if 1 to 3 was redone with full mocap? But the impact wouldn't have been as big. It's because they played it so safe, Brick. They played it so safe that it just wasn't worth it. That's what was disappointing about it. They just played it way too safe. Like, why would they do that? I think that was my biggest complaint with Gears of War 5. There was never any risk, and even the death at the end when he had to make that choice, it didn't feel like they earned it. It didn't feel like it mattered. And they always got plot armor, right? Just before impact, one of those tentacles could have ripped through, perfect timing, and dragged him down. You never know what could have happened. There's always some form of plot armor they can instigate to make that shit, you know, come true. That's a question for Gears 5. Which way did you go? Who did you save? The son or the girl? Yeah, I killed JD too. I killed JD too, man. According to Nate the Hate, the ratings from Microsoft's internal mock reviews of Hellblade 2 are in the low 90s. At least internally, that is what they're anticipating. Not sure if it's fully based on mock reviews. It could just be internal mock reviews. Not sure. Where is it? Not sure if it's been external mock reviews, but if that is what they're projecting, is something in the low 90s. Jeez, just constant repeating themselves.
That last year I was hearing that the internal Metacritic score that Microsoft had for the game was in the 90s.
Ooh.
And
So interesting.
high.
Okay, so if it's not, if they haven't, so they're focus group testing. They're having reviewers come in to check it out, and they're getting back stuff in the 90s, scores in the 90s. That is what you're saying.
yeah, at least internally, that is what they're anticipating. Not sure if it's fully based on mock reviews. It could just be internal mock reviews. I'm not sure if it's been external mock reviews. But if that is what they're projecting, is something in the low 90s, that would be their highest Metacritic game since Gears 3. And that could surprise a lot of people if it comes in, especially if it comes in the early portion of 2024 and they start off the year with, let's say, a game with a Metacritic score of 92.
That'd be impressive.
It sets a tone.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for from Microsoft, is a game that's not a Forza Horizon to show up and hit in that low 90s. That's the big thing that people are pushing for them. So if that happened, that would be impressive. One, I'd have to give Ninja Theory a ton of credit for building off of Hellblade 1, but also Microsoft for allowing them to go that far. So that is the one I'm definitely keeping an eye on, though, is Hellblade 2.
Interesting. I'm expecting good things from this. I am. But it'll be interesting to see how the game gets reviewed. Because there's going to be review bombing. It's a Microsoft game. That's for sure. From $60 to $40 to $20. Sony doesn't value their games, so why should you? And that's from a pony. Man, I can't believe this game is still going. I started playing this game in I think I was in college when I started playing this game. Final Fantasy 11, the first MMO. And it's still getting updates. I mean, Forbidden West just wasn't all that. Director of next Star Wars movie says her goal is to make men uncomfortable. Okay, I just went and watch it. Okay. If that's your goal, I just went and watch it. I mean, she's stupid. What a dumb thing to say. Absolute moronic. So you guys don't think PlayStation's going to release 2 tiers for consoles? An S version and a X version? I mean, if that's what she wants to do, that's fine with me. I just won't watch it. Really? All right, let's check this out, boys. Let's check this out.
2023 will go down as one of the craziest and most entertaining years in gaming history. 2023 was a year of extremes. We reached new heights with Baldur's Gate 3, and we sunk to new lows with The Day Before, which has allowed scientists to discover a layer of Earth beneath the inner core. I don't even know how that's possible. As developers in the industry continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, other developers push the boundaries of what they can get away with. Baldur's Gate 3 and The Day Before are like our north and south poles. You can put every other game released this year in between these two. And as we move onwards into 2024, I thought it'd be fun to look back at every accomplishment and failure in the world of gaming. These are the best and worst games of 2023. Although our first topic isn't a video game, it is based on one. The Last of Us TV show premiered on HBO early this year. I knew this show was good because my parents, who haven't played video games since the NES, asked me if I had heard about it. The marketing must have been phenomenal if it could capture the attention of my parents.
You're a weird kid.
You're a weird kid.
Sounds like Sony managed to make a show based off a video game that appealed to a broader audience.
Fun fact, my daughter, my young son, and my wife, they don't watch anything that's generally live action video game related. No interest. They like the animated stuff, like the Mario, the Sonic stuff, but the live action stuff, not at all. This was the first series that they were actually genuinely really excited to watch week after week, where they would actually come into the living room ready with their popcorn to sit and watch an episode before I even got myself settled down. The show did a really good job.
I wonder how they did that. It couldn't possibly be as simple as faithfully adapting the incredible source material to a television format, right? Oh, interesting. Season 2 of the Halo TV show comes out in February. I don't know why I brought that up. Last of Us was amazing. Nominated for 24 Primetime Emmys, and it became one of the biggest shows in HBO history. That success is well earned, and The Last of Us demonstrates what can be achieved when you properly adapt a beloved video game into a TV series. But the first major game release this year showed everyone why sometimes it's okay to have a silent protagonist.
I just move shit with my mind.
Perhaps our connection has somehow awoken.
I still think this is a good game. I will die on that hill.
Keep hearing I
just move shit with my freaking mind. Okay, that is something I do now. I do magic, talk to sentient cuffs, kill jacked up beasts. You know what? I'll probably fly next.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
So, like, let me get this straight. I'm, like, recording a video right now that I'm gonna post to my YouTube channel, and people are gonna watch it. That's just
Look,
like...
Kong is an RPG.
Although the combat and traversal in Forspoken looked kind of cool, what's not cool is being subjected to nuclear levels of cringe every time the main character opens her mouth. Guess that's why they called it Forspoken, because it should have been forbidden to have spoken dialogue this bad.
Hey, that really sucked!
Forspoken was lampooned and memed into oblivion, and that's pretty much all it's going to be remembered for. It's like the Morbius of video games. A lot of people wanted to experience it just to know for themselves how bad it really was. This is one of those games.
But it wasn't a bad game. I still stand by it. If you haven't played this game,
That is something I do now. I do magic, talk to sentient cuffs, kill
I really liked it, Devastator. It was one of the best games I played in 2023.
Luminous Productions would shut down on May 1st, which is kind of sad, but at least we got the worst game of 2023 out of our system early, right?
That game is not the worst game of 2023.
Can't possibly get worse. Luckily, the very next day, a miracle occurred. An amazing, unique Xbox exclusive was announced during the Xbox Bethesda showcase, and then it was released on the same day?
I don't believe it!
I give Hi-Fi Rush the most pleasant surprise award, because it's pretty shocking that an action rhythm game would have mainstream appeal, especially after the rhythm genre got milked to death in the late 2000s and everyone got fucking sick of it. It is somewhat interesting that the protagonists and trailers for Hi-Fi Rush and Forspoken are similar, because they're both trying to sell you a main character. with
Trust me,
attitude.
Ati, you'll like
So
it.
why does Hi-Fi Rush get critical acclaim and Forspoken
Give it a
as
chance.
laughing stock? Well, making a good video game has something to do with it, but it's also because Chai is much more likable and he's not constantly trying to tell us how cool he is. Hi-Fi Rush has a similar art style to games like Jet Set Radio Future and Beautiful Joe. It's a visual style that, if done right, will look good for decades. It was nominated for 5 different categories at the Game Awards, and I'm happy it earned at least one. Titles like Hi-Fi Rush that are this unique
It is,
deserve to
Edward.
succeed and be celebrated. The day after Hi-Fi Rush came out, we got
You
what is
hush, Steve.
arguably the best indie title of 2020.
Don't listen to him, Ati.
Tower. Made as a love letter for fans of the Wario Land series, Pizza Tower successfully captures the identity of those games. It acts as an unofficial spiritual successor. Nintendo hasn't made a Wario Land type game since 2008, so this has filled a market that Nintendo hasn't been willing to tap. Pizza Tower was nominated for Best Indie Game Debut, but lost to Cocoon. Still, that's one hell of a debut. With 98% positive reviews on Steam, it's nice to see indie titles like this get the praise and recognition they deserve. I don't know why, but this week in January was just fucking loaded with games to talk about. The day after Pizza Tower came something I've wanted for years, a Dead Space remake.
Jeez, how is this guy using this music and not getting demonetized?
And thank the marker, this did not disappoint. Well, the only disappointment was the story, which I felt the dialogue and delivery were not as strong as the original, but everything else was an upgrade. This was my ideal
That's all right,
kind of
Edward.
remake. One that keeps all of the best parts, but expands on it and takes liberties to give us more of what we loved. The changes to Zero G were awesome, as were the new areas and changes to the tram system, which, unlike the original, didn't lock you into one area throughout a level. For any games in this list that I made a video on, you could check the description if you want to hear more. Would you like to know more? The first Dead Space is a masterpiece, and luckily, so is the remake. 2023 was a pretty good year for remakes and remasters, and Nintendo finally decided to remaster the 10th highest rated game of all time on Metacritic, Metroid Prime. I'm still kind of shocked that a Metroid game is held in such high regard despite its relative obscurity compared to other Nintendo IPs, and although the price tag might be a little questionable, this remaster was long overdue. Now if they remake Metroid Fusion, I'm gonna shit my pants. Oh boy!
Fusion was amazing.
Easily the most
I love
controversial
Fusion.
game released this year. Hogwarts Legacy. What's life without a little drama,
Fruit
right?
Loops,
Hogwarts Legacy
I got
sparked
demonetized
a
for.
massive boycott because some people don't like what J.K. Rowling has been saying recently, and because we have no concept of game development, well, let's throw all the developers under the same bus and just assume they think and believe all the things that she does. It baffles me that some people are incapable of separating art from the artist. You can absolutely disagree with everything JK has been saying and still enjoy Hogwarts Legacy for what it is. The whole boycott illustrated the external politics in the real world.
Now, this game is good.
Do not invade the process of reviewing a game based on its own merits. This boycott backfired spectacularly, inadvertently giving the game more press and attention, making it one of the most successful titles released this year. For fans of Harry Potter, it was pretty much a dream come true.
By the way, it backfired so badly that the publishers turned around and said that the amount of free PR that they got equated to over $200 million worth. That's how much it backfired. All those protests, all that noise that the community was making, it actually equated, when they quantified it, to over $200 million of free PR. I mean, GG on your crusade, people. You just gave them their biggest paycheck of all time. I mean, the publishers were over the moon. They didn't even have to do anything because word of mouth was spreading so quickly. It completely obliterated all the marketing that they were even paying for. In fact, they actually came out and said that they cancelled at least about a third of their marketing because there was no need. The amount of free PR that they got from the LGBTQ community was enough to send the game soaring into new heights. So not only did they get like $200+ million worth of free PR, they actually cancelled a third of their marketing budget for the game because they didn't need to spend it. because they got all of that free. How is that a win for their community? I don't know.
Aside from all those movie tie-in games, which were a coin flip if they'd be good or dog shit, this is the first time people had a chance to really immerse themselves in the world of Harry Potter and in Hogwarts, to explore all the memorable, iconic locations from the films and the books.
I wish that were real, Ati, but it's not.
RPG on a broom. I mean, what more could you ask for? It was pretty magical. Hogwarts Legacy made a shitload of money and broke records for most watched single-player game on Twitch of all time, selling over 15 million copies and earning more than $1 billion. Hogwarts Legacy proves that the world of Harry Potter still resonates with people, even 16 years after the last book came out. 2023 would be the comeback year for many games people had previously given up on. Halo Infinite is a good example. It has made a startling comeback ever since the old leadership was axed and removed from 343. And now the game is getting consistent updates that are substantial and really good. They even added Firefight, man. I mean, that's bravo. I'm glad I gave Halo Infinite another shot, and I think it deserved a nomination at the Game Awards for either Best Ongoing or Best Community Support. Like, how the fuck did Destiny 2 get a nomination? Bungie has been imploding recently. Things are looking up for Halo nomination. Their best on.
Like, how the fuck did Cyberpunk win that? How the F did Cyberpunk win that? This still annoys me to this day. Like, there is no way that Cyberpunk is going to get best ongoing game just because they had to rebuild it. In that case, why wasn't No Man's Sky in there? Why wasn't No Man's Sky there instead of Cyberpunk? Because that game should have easily won in that case, right? I mean, I'm actually surprised Genshin Impact even got a vote, to be fair, considering how negatively and badly it's doing, although it's still top of the charts and the most successful gacha game out there, even to this date, making somewhere in the region of $50 to $80 million a month. But still, Cyberpunk should never have got there. I mean, hell, out of all of those, clearly Final Fantasy XIV should have won it.
Ongoing or best community support. Like, how the fuck did Destiny 2 get a nomination?
Best community support, Bungie.
Imploded recently. Things are looking up for Halo fans, but 343 will need some kind of X factor if they want this game to hit mainstream.
I mean, Fortnite would only win if they've got 2B in there.
Dead Space and Resident Evil 4.
I'm surprised 2B isn't in there.
Gave me more than I could have dreamed of. The RE4 remake did exactly what I wanted it to. RE4 was lightning captured in a bottle. Impossible to replicate.
Those are Xbox games.
I prefer some of the
Jeff Keighley doesn't like Xbox.
Dialogue in the original. This is as good as you can get to recapturing that same lightning. Leon was given a bounty of phenomenal one-liners to spout off constantly. They really dived into the campy nature of the game, and the combat was fucking amazing. The Mercenaries mode, incredible, and they recently released Separate Ways DLC. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's bingo night. We also got to finally see the Super Mario movie. It was so cool. Despite the jokes we all made when all the voice actors were revealed, they did phenomenal
Hey, it's Steve.
jobs. And for what it was, I thought this was a great video game movie.
It
Apparently
was.
So did a lot of people because it made like over $1 billion. Yeah, if you're gonna keep making good movies, I'm gonna keep paying.
There
to
was
see 'em.
loads
Let's do a
devastated that
Legend of
should have
Zelda
been there.
film, shall we? Maybe. Jedi Survivor is another game on my backlog.
I know, right, Etty?
As good, if not better, than Fallen Order. Survivor was plagued by performance issues at release. I believe this was exclusively on PC because, like, nobody's
Well, loud. It didn't have a Xbox logo on it. That's why it made an
That
appearance.
only seemed to be a temporary setback, and let me just say, I love that this is the new style of Star Wars single-player games. Keep them coming. The reason Star Wars Jedi Survivor is on my backlog is because I spent time instead playing Redfall, a game so bad that not even the developers at Arcane wanted to make it. They thought it would be cancelled. I don't know why it wasn't. The game featured brain-dead AI that predated the original Doom. Yes, the one from 1993. Graphics that
Ouch.
failed to impress, and a general lack of fun, combat, things that make a video game
I did.
feel like a video game. It all made Redfall one of the most boring titles I'd played this year.
No fun allowed. No fun allowed.
Redfall was a red fail, and much like Forspoken, Most of its entertainment value came from making fun of the game. This is especially concerning if this is the type of first-party products that Xbox is going to push out there and market as Xbox exclusives. I mean, Redfall's presence on Steam is... I don't think any update is going to salvage this game. And in my review, I said, I think we should start making predictions on what's going to win worst game of the year. Well, ain't no point making predictions because, ladies and gentlemen, this year, it's Redfall.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, he was wrong.
I never imagined that this clip would age poorly. Breath of the Wild is one of the best
How's it going,
video
Chili?
games of all time. So Nintendo saw that and was like,
He clearly didn't see Gollum coming.
well, let's do that. So they did. Tears of the Kingdom is pushing the hardware of the Switch to its absolute limits. And Nintendo continues to prove that creativity is more important than raw power. You just have to imagine what kind of games they could be making if they made a new Switch with the same...
But this is what I was saying, Edward. PC gamers do not give a game a second chance in general. They will go to it once, they will try it. If it's bad at launch, they will get their refund and they will move on and they will never come back. Console gamers are different. They will go to a game, they will try it, and then they'll say, you know what, we'll come back in a few months and try it again. PC gamers just generally don't do that. So even if it did become like one of the best games of, they just won't go back to it. It's just one of those things. It's been a common trend for years now. Mate, Quantum Error clearly saw itself coming. It has the word error in its name. You know, there was a quantum of errors in there. It's in the name.
Level of power as the PS5 or Series X. Tears also continues the long-standing tradition of
Legend.
the games being universally loved by everyone. The new building and crafting mechanics were a great gimmick. It's kind of like a modern-day Majora's Mask in that its predecessor was so fucking good, they didn't need to build a new foundation or change much about it in the sequel. Just add some new bells, whistles, gimmicks, and critical acclaim awaits ye. I love when developers know what we want and love.
Exactly, Diablo.
Stop to give us more of it instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. So many good games came out this year, man. But the Lord of the Rings Gollum is not one of them.
Why do you think I've set such a high goal? Because I know what you guys will do to me.
Even spell the title right in their apology post. We would like to sincerely apologize for the underwhelming experience many of you have had with the Lord of Ring Gollum.
I mean, they couldn't even spell it right.
Do I need to say anything more?
They couldn't even spell it right.
Gollum was picked by many as the absolute worst game of this year, but it wasn't.
I mean, Steve, I don't see that getting anytime soon to the required goal, so I'm happy.
Down their development division. Probably the wise choice. 2023 was filled with many.
I'm safe, dude.
Sequels.
I am safe.
10 years after the last main entry, Street Fighter would make its triumphant return. I've never been the biggest fan of traditional fighting games, but Street Fighter 6 was very addicting. Last time I played a new Street Fighter was 4, and I didn't have a fucking clue how to do any special moves. But rejoice, fellow noobs like me, for Capcom added a control scheme that makes the game accessible to degenerates like you and me. It also helps that the online mode seemed to work from day one, which you can't say about every fighting game. Also, the fact that they let you create and fight with your own abomination is just... mwah, perfection. I hope Street Fighter fans are happy with this one, because Diablo fans, on the other hand, do not seem happy with their long-awaited sequel, Diablo 4. As one famous YouTube comment wrote, doesn't matter, you bought and supported Blizzard. You deserve a bad game. I must have been high on crack, methamphetamines, and PCP the day I bought D4, because some part of me felt like I would get to experience the same thrill and excitement I felt from the first two games. I completely forgot that Activision Blizzard these days only pumps out soulless factory line garbage, devoid of passion, life, and respect for its fanbase and franchises. Most of Blizzard's existing fanbase, I feel, are people like me who stick around in vain, desperately trying to relive the glory days. Those days are long gone, unfortunately. Diablo 4 was fun at first, but it quickly became apparent that the game was as wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle. designed more to exploit the player than to give them enjoyment worth $70. Every rotten tactic you can
I
think
got bored
was
of this
used to
game really
artificially
quick.
increase
Like
player
really,
engagement.
really, really
And
quick.
these tactics don't work on me because the best tactic is to just make a fun video game. While franchises like Zelda, Pikmin, Street Fighter, and Dead Space can take 5+ years to release a new game, they make it worth it. They make it for the fans. Blizzard does not. And Diablo 4 is one of my 3 nominees for most disappointing game this year. By the rings.
No, at launch it was fine.
Pikmin game? After an
Blaze.
entire decade, the patience of
It
Pikmin
was
fans
just
has paid
after you
off.
played it for
many
about
years to gear up
20,
the
30 hours and you
emotion,
kind of got to the
even
end game,
going as far back
the
as
end game fell
2014
flat real
when he
quick.
said the game was nearly complete. That was 8 years ago, but I remember your famous quote, and the game is fantastic, so I'll let it slide. A lot of people speculated that Pikmin 4 was just going to be vaporware, something that they would talk about, but never.
You know, I've
actually
never
finished,
played
and
Pikmin.
I'm glad they did. Hear ye, hear ye! The game of the year is here. Baldur's Gate 3 somehow managed to break into the top 20 games.
You pre-ordered
on
that chili
Metacritic
because of
all
2B.
time.
I know you did.
That's no easy feat. Everything about this game is fantastic. It represents years and years of investment and talent from Larian Studios. While there is some
Yeah, it was in the
discourse
end game.
around whether or not people enjoy this style of turn-based gameplay. Spoiler, I prefer Divinity Original Sin 2. But what I think everyone agrees on is that the RPG mechanics in Baldur's Gate 3
That says Sparta!
are perfection. It's everything I've loved about like KOTOR, Dragon Age, Mass Effect. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be a landmark title for a long time, a benchmark that many others will try to hit, but very few will ever reach. Just 2 months after D4's release, Blizzard would continue their
Hey,
long
Dying Light
streak
2 is
of
not a bad game.
disappointing fans.
It can't be, right?
Overpromising
It's getting
features,
updates.
Not delivering them. Oops, you fucked up again. I mean, Overwatch is always going to be fun. I can play it right now and have a good time, but lying about features, promoting this PvE mode that you never intended on finishing, using that to promote the game, it's just, all the shit around Overwatch 2 just left a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, this really was one of the laziest sequels I'd ever seen. And I play Call of Duty, okay? Like most of Blizzard's recent games, Overwatch 2 released to overwhelming.
Man, this game is probably the only franchise I know that has the biggest porn scene in video
story,
games.
Some semblance of a campaign. Now,
What
allegedly,
made this game
Overwatch
kick
2
off in that
came
scene?
out because the higher-ups at Activision and Blizzard wanted to make the company appear more valuable as they awaited the merge into Microsoft.
I have no idea why this game was more popular in the, yeah, Overwatch.
Fires of Rubicon.
This game is more popular in its porn side of things than it is in the actual game.
After falling in love with their soul
There's way more effort put into it.
Kind of reminded me of Custom Robo, the way you can change all your mech's weapons. It's a lot of fun. The only downside is the story's non-existent.
Not that I've been watching
Do I even
anything, you
care?
know.
Not really. I just want to shoot robots. Ladies and gentlemen, Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 are 2 of the nominees for most disappointing game this year. But Starfield is the winner. Now, don't get me wrong, I think this game offers a much better single-player experience than Diablo 4. There are times when I've had a lot of fun with it, but like Diablo 4, the longer I play,
It was for science, right, Chili?
Which is kind of what you expect from most games. And the reason I think it's the most disappointing game is because people expected a lot from Bethesda. I didn't care for Fallout 76 or Fallout 4.
Ah, that is
So
true.
I've been
That
waiting
is
a
true.
long time to play another true Bethesda RPG. I don't think it's a bad video game, but it is quite mediocre, and it runs its course way quicker than any of the other Bethesda RPGs I've played. It was also very controversial. I mean, a lot of people love it, others really hate it. I think given all the time they had and the expectations around Bethesda games, it makes it the most disappointing. So much of what makes Bethesda RPGs magical was lost in the pursuit of procedurally generated planets and automated content. So many of Starfield's issues could have been fixed if it was just scaled down, if the scope was smaller, more focused, if we got more handmade, curated dungeons, if they found ways to cut out the tedious, overwhelming loading screens. Maybe Starfield will get better with updates, but as of right now, I'm not sure if I'll ever go back for a second playthrough. Payday 3.
There you go. Did you hear that? Did you hear what did you hear what he said there? Let me rewind it so you can hear it.
The tedious, overwhelming loading screens.
Not that
Maybe
bit.
Starfield will get
Here.
better with updates, but as of right now, I'm not sure if I'll ever go back for a second playthrough.
And that's the problem with PC gaming. That right there. with console gaming, people will go back. It's just one of those things where we're just engineered differently. We will go back, but with PC gamers, if it doesn't launch in a really good state, they just don't go back. It's very rare that they go back. It's extremely rare that they go back because the next shiny game is just around the corner, and if it doesn't hold you there, it's thing. I mean, the loading screens aren't a problem. I mean, I play on PC and they last a few seconds. I don't get the whole, oh my God. I mean, I've seen people saying that they were stuck on a loading screens take like 20, 30 seconds. I think they've got the game installed on a, you know, an actual hard drive, you know, a 54 RPM hard drive or something. But if you're running it off an NVMe, a decent NVMe, it's like 3 seconds. I think Hi-Fi Rush should go to Switch. It would actually do really well there. See, there's certain games I think would actually do well on there. I don't think Hi-Fi Rush would do well on PlayStation, and I don't think Microsoft wants to put anything on PlayStation if they don't have to. But I think what Phil is doing, because I've heard about this, Hi-Fi Rush going to Switch. I was actually going to make a video discussing this tomorrow, but I'll talk about it here for a little bit before I continue the video. I think by putting Hi-Fi Rush onto the Switch, I think it'll sell. That's number one, so it's more revenue. But number two, it's strengthening that relationship that Microsoft has with Nintendo. At the moment, their relationship is quite good. But Microsoft is trying to strengthen that relationship they have with Nintendo for much, other agendas. They want Nintendo. Need to head to bed. Good night, all. Thanks for the stream, Kels. No worries, Steve. Thanks a lot for hanging out tonight. It is because of the refund policy on Steam. It's so easy to buy a game knowing you can 100% refund it. Exactly, Atty. That's it. So you don't get as much of an attachment to a game and don't give a proper chance. Bingo. Now, that is what I was saying earlier. You know, you go, you buy a physical game for a console, or even if you buy a digital, you play it. You know, the notion of refunding it, it's not easy. I've tried to refund a game on Xbox, at least here in the UK. They don't take it back. My friend, for his PlayStation, he bought Battlefield, and he bought the wrong one. He only realized he bought the wrong one because there was 2 bundles, but he thought he bought the right one, but he got the wrong one. He contacted Sony and said, look, I haven't even installed the game yet. You can check on my profile. The license is there, but I haven't even installed it yet. I just want you to remove the license because I bought the wrong one, and you can transfer the license to another game. It took him 3 hours talking to 4 different reps before they finally agreed to switch the licenses over. 3-4 hours. When on Steam, it takes you 5 minutes. There's no, people can't be bothered to be on a phone or on, 7 different chats to 9 different people just to be able to get a refund. Most people would just say, fuck it, suck it up and move on.
Payday 3. What a tragic tale. While I called this game a certified banger, that was based on a version that me and other content creators got to play. It was not the version released to the public, which made me and other content creators look like we were shilling a broken game.
They do.
None of us knew that's how the game would launch. I'd like to squash the rumors.
Oh, they're really bad. Sony support is horrible.
In this video,
I'll give you a thing. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm a very massive 2B shill. I ain't even ashamed to say it. So me and my friends were playing that game called Babylon's Fall. You may have heard of it. They shut down the servers. So I was given a review copy of the game. It was the American version of the game. And the Nier Automata collaboration came on, and so I wanted to get the skin for Nier. So I bought American currency. Got one of my friends in America to get me the currency. They gave me the code. I put it into the PlayStation. I went into the store. No money. I contacted Sony support and I said, look, here's the situation. I can't buy it. And they said, well, they checked in my system. They said there's no money there. So I explained to them that I've got an American account. Because I reviewed the game. I'm a content creator. And, I wanted to spend some money in the store. So I, acquired some American currency. And they told me, I shit you not, I should still have the receipt because I actually sent it to my one of the community managers at Square Enix. The rep, after I was kind of trying to explain my point that if I can't use the currency, give me a refund, the rep told me from PlayStation to, in plain English, fuck off. I actually got that script and I sent it to my contact at Square Enix, the community manager there. And I said, look, this is the whole transcript. And at the end, they told me to fuck off. He was pretty disgusted by what he read in that transcript. He went back to the team to find out why it wasn't showing. It turned out in the end that I had to have someone in America log in with my account and then the currency would appear. I had a really good friend in the US, so I gave him my details, and in the end, he bought it for me. But the fact is, the customer rep here in the UK for Sony told me to fuck off and then locked me off. And then they actually blacklisted my PlayStation American account as well from contact support. I actually cannot contact them with that email address for my American account anymore. It's been blacklisted. That's how shit the American, the UK customer support for PlayStation is. Oh, dude, trust me. I think I put in maybe 70 to 100 hours on Babylon's Fall. Unlike many, me and my friends that were playing it, we actually had a good time. I streamed it a lot on my, I think it was on my Twitch channel. We had a good time. The bow combination was really nice. Once you get used to the graphics, the whole water thing, once you got past all of that, there was actually a decent game underneath it, but it wasn't amazing. It was decent. But I got my money's worth. I mean, I didn't pay for the game, mind you, but I still got my money's worth.
I didn't play the full game, so I didn't make a review. It's also unethical to do sponsored reviews. This is the only
I agree, Chili.
To do. Raise awareness for the launch of Payday 3. That's it. So I could make whatever video I wanted about it, and that's the video I decided to make. And that's how I felt about Payday 3 at the time. So yeah, this video was not a review. It was first impressions. My big mistake was not putting in a big enough disclaimer near the start that said, hey, this may not be representative
cutscenes were horrible.
The full game is like at release. And for that, I apologize. Payday 3
worse than
was
Redfall.
broken, even in the public early access beta, which, by the way, the beta came out like 10 days before launch. And as a newcomer to the series, I wasn't aware of the many downgrades from Payday 2. In a baffling decision, Starbreeze elected to make the game online only, which becomes a big fucking problem if your servers don't work. Overall, Payday 3 was a massive disappointment for everyone involved, myself included, and I wish they had delayed it or been honest with us about the state it would release in. We'll see what happens, but for now, you're probably better off playing Payday 2. CD Projekt Red has spent...
Well, to be honest, Atty, I think for 4 days, the servers didn't work, so... that probably had something to do with it.
Years and a reported $62 million budget to repair their image, and that of Cyberpunk. From the sounds of it, they have succeeded. In the eyes of many,
I really hope you like it, dude. I'm actually going to stream it maybe tomorrow.
The base game in virtually every category. I'll make a video about
I want to do the New Year's event.
You thought Gollum game was bad. Skull Island Rise of Kong is here to share.
Let's go! Game of the Year material right here. RPG of the century.
And it clearly shows. I don't know what's more impressive, that this game launched on every platform, or that they're charging $40 for this pig slop. Apparently, Rise of Kong had a rush development, and the developers were forced to crunch? What the fuck for? What was the rush? Who was desperately awaiting this game? They didn't even finish the cutscenes. What did you think was gonna happen when you launched the game like this? Rise of Kong is doubly bad because it's not nearly as cringe and funny as Forspoken and Redfall. You can only tell one joke about this game. Wow, it really sucks. It still amazes me sometimes that Nintendo continues to innovate the Mario franchise even after almost 40 years of games. Wonder is a fine addition to the series. It's like playing a regular Mario Bros game, but on acid. A lot of fun. Another year, another Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 3, however, broke new ground by becoming the lowest rated game in a series that produced Vanguard and Ghosts. Luckily, the multiplayer has a strong appeal to hardcore and casual fans. Sledgehammer are updating it constantly and doing their best to make fans happy. We're not going to talk about the campaign, though. Not only did we get a trailer for a 1,000 Year Door remake, I'm so happy, but Super Mario RPG also got a remake. Truly a blessed year for Mario fans. This year, Rockstar officially announced GTA 6 and put out a trailer that gained more views in a matter of days
that was
than
bad.
the GTA 5 trailer did
P5.
in a decade. You don't have to be Nostradamus to predict that GTA 6 is going to have the biggest video game launch of all time. And I'm excited to see what Rockstar has been cooking for the last however many years. And this happens every time with a new GTA. You already know, 6 is going to spark the most annoying discourse you've ever heard around a video game. Last but certainly most least, 2023 ended with one of the worst video games ever made. The Day Before, one of the most brazen scam rug pulls the industry has ever seen. Every time we've thought video games had hit a new low, another studio came out this year to dig the hole deeper, and Fantastic has hit bedrock. We cannot get any lower, any worse than this. The studio shut down 4 days after the game released, and Steam has taken the unprecedented move of automatically refunding everyone who purchased it. To my knowledge, they have never done that before. The Day Before rightfully earns worst game of 2023. But in their brutality, the gods of gaming demanded one final sacrifice. The Electronic Entertainment Expo has been canceled permanently. This is really sad. I never got to go to E3 in person.
I always
It's like
wanted to go to
the
E3.
Super Bowl for gamers, you know? A celebration of everything awesome we love about this hobby. So many iconic, hype as fuck moments happen during these shows. So many incredible game reveals and trailers. All good things must come to an end, and after more than 25 years, E3 has been retired for good. Partly due to COVID knocking things off track and all these studios wanting to have their own press release on their own terms, I understand why E3 was canceled. Doesn't make
Still
it any better
sucks.
though. But I'd hate to end this year on such a sour note. 2023 may have been one of the best
Hey,
years
then
in
talk
gaming.
about the Walking Dead
Honestly,
Destinies.
I'd say it's got to be in the top 3. It was a year of extremes. We saw the best and the absolute worst that this industry is capable of. I'm excited for 2024, but I doubt we're going to see as many exciting games. I just want to take a moment to thank you all for supporting the channel, continuing to watch.
That wasn't a bad watch. Some of the things questionable. He didn't put the Walking Dead Destinies in there. That definitely should have been in there. But, you know, the problem with Returnal, I mean, Returnal for me is one of PlayStation's best games. But the problem that they had, which is a real problem for a game like Returnal, is that it would crash or doors wouldn't open, so you couldn't get through. And if you were having that amazingly great run where you finally had like multiple life ups, multiple power ups, the perfect gun, well, and you kind of got stuck in a room, that was harsh. Or if it crashed and there was no like state save to fall back onto, that was bad. So yeah, I mean, for them to release it without any safeguard in a game like that, knowing that the game could and was doing that, like the fact that certain rooms would literally keep you locked in, I'm sure they must have seen that during their QA testing. I guess they just didn't have time to fix it. They must have seen it, you know, but so releasing the game in that state, they kind of deserve the backlash they got. The game now is fine. It's a really good game. But like I said, you know, when it comes to console games, you wait and give it a chance and you're more invested with it. Fun fact about Returnal though, it's playable on VR first on PC, not on PlayStation. He posted a video saying Payday's rubbish. See, this is the thing that I don't get with, you know, bad games coming out. Right? This is the thing I don't get. See, I've worked in the games industry, right? I have. And so I know how it works. Right? So how it works is when a game is ready to be submitted, we do our internal QA, right? We know what's there. We know the bugs that's there. Like, for example, Virtua Tennis on the 360 and the PS3. To this day, there is a bug in there that no one knows about. It's hard to reproduce, but it is a 100% reproducible bug that breaks the game. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But to this day, it basically screws your game, and the only way to fix it is to basically turn your machine off and put it back on. You can't continue. You can't do anything. You can't go into tournament mode. You can't go into championship mode. You can't go into free play mode. Nothing works. Right? And, you know, we knew it was there, but it's really hard to find. And we sent that to Sony and Microsoft, hoping with fingers crossed, because we didn't have time to fix it. And obviously back then, day one patches weren't really a thing, or they weren't popular anyway. So it passed. And to this day, I haven't seen a single forum complaint of that bug ever being reproduced. The same thing with Virtua Tennis on the PSP. That was another game that I actually worked on. And, you know, we had to keep record of all the events that we were doing. And so when you had the World Tour, if you did the events in a particular order up until the 4th month, and this was reproducible 100%, the actual screen on your PSP for the game starts to float slowly off screen and it never comes back. So once it hits a replay, it floats off screen and never comes back. Now, obviously, there's no day one patch. So that went to Sony on the PSP, and that passed as well. Because the chance of someone actually landing on that bug was, put it this way, you've got more chance in winning the national lottery 4 weeks in a row than you have of reproducing that bug. But then you've got stuff like Cyberpunk, right? That basically gets submitted to PlayStation and Sony. Their internal testers get paid somewhere in the region of $7,000 to $10,000, right, to test this shit. And so they know that it is broken, but it still gets the seal of approval from Microsoft and Sony to release in that state. So even if people are angry at the likes of CD Projekt Red for releasing the game in that way, just know that the only reason they were able to do that is because Sony and Microsoft said, yes, you can release it in this state. Now, I don't give two shits if CDPR turned around and said, we promise that the game will be fixed in time for launch. Once you've given that seal of approval, it is done. That is literally the last line of defense. Microsoft and Sony both signed off that game to be released to the consumers in the broken state that it was in. Never forget that. People don't generally understand how the mechanics work here, but that is how it works. For PC, it's different. PC is completely unregulated. I can work on a game on PC right now, push it to Steam, and have it released. Steam doesn't do any testing. No one does this. And the best thing Steam will do is run it through an algorithm to make sure it boots to the title screen on a virtual server. There's no testing there because the PC market is unregulated. How do I know this? Because I tested Total War on PC as well when I was at Sega. It's completely unregulated. And even though I knew the game wasn't ready, my project lead at the time told me it doesn't matter. There's no one regulating the PC market. We can release it in any state we want. Right? But when it comes to the console games, the actual publishers pay between $7,000 to $10,000 to get this tested. And that price was back in 2010. So I'm guessing now it's a hell of a lot higher for that testing phase with inflation and whatnot. Right? But they pay a lot of money for this. And that's why when you see, people turn around and say to like Ubisoft, why can't you just quickly release a hotfix? If they do that one single hotfix, that's $10,000. If they do another quick hotfix, that's another $10,000. Because there is that price barrier there, they kind of collect all the bugs into one big package and then release that package all in one go because it's still $10,000. Whether there's only one bug that they're uploading, one fix, or 100 fixes, the price doesn't change. It's the same. And that is why you'd see PC patches coming out faster because they can just constantly pump that shit out. And that is why, when you see betas, they can do it on PC, just push it out, push it out, push it out. But when the betas come to the consoles, that beta then has to go to Microsoft or Sony. They have to test that beta to make sure it doesn't do anything to the console, and then it gets allowed. There's like a whole 5 to 7 day period for it. But they know that the games are in a bad state before they release it. So why are these companies, why are Microsoft and Sony saying, yes, release it? Oh, if they've got an arrangement, that's different. But the actual standardization of the thing, it's just crazy. They were expensive too, right? Yeah, they were really expensive. And, I get it. The publishers definitely have a fault to play here because they're trying a fast one. But where does the buck stop? Is it with the publishers or with the last line of defense? Microsoft and Sony should never have allowed Cyberpunk to release. It should never have seen the light of day. The same thing with No Man's Sky, with how broken it was. And all these broken games that actually come out day one, that's in such a horrible state. Just think about it, right? Gollum passed Microsoft's and PlayStation's QA. It got the seal of approval. That broken mess of a game got their seal of approval to release. Think about that. Like, where's the standards gone? That shouldn't be the case. I'm guessing there's a lot of money that was exchanged with like the CEOs and stuff, but still, it's not very nice. But folks, I think that's going to be where we call it a day. That was a good video. Not everything he said in there I agree with, mind you. Surprised they didn't release unreleased Concord to the list. It's true. Concord should have been there. Have you seen this one, by the way? Have you seen this? There are plenty of great RPGs and space games just like Starfield to play. Here are our top picks. This is the 5th or 6th time I've seen this posted in 5 days. It's the 5th or 6th time I've seen this in 2024. It's been 5 days. 5 days. And they've reposted this 6 times. No, Edward. No. That is not what it is. They hire a full team of QA to test it rigorously. So you've got what's called a fast track certification, and then you've got the normal certification. The fast track certification takes 3 days. That's worth double. Well, I think it's like 60% more. So at the time, it was $7,000 to do the normal 5 to 7 days of checks. If you wanted the fast track, it cost between $10,000 and $12,000. So it was a little more expensive. Not double, but I'd say about 70% extra in terms of cost if you wanted to fast track it. But they basically get a team in, and that team of 10, 15, whatever, literally just hammers that game, playing it, trying to see if there's any game-breaking bugs in there that they try to sneak in. Stop reading Twitter. TheChaosLounge versus Final Fantasy 14 Open Beta. I'm going to be playing. I'm pretty sure the Final Fantasy 14 Open Beta is going to be cross-play. I play on PC, personally. I'm buying it on Xbox so I can have it on all 3 platforms, so I can play it on wherever I want. I don't know if the Open Beta is going to allow me to use my account on the actual Open Beta for Xbox. If it doesn't, I know that crossplay will be a thing. Now, the beta servers will be limited. Are you sure? Because I remember the PC ones were. The PC ones definitely. Because the last thing I want, the one thing I don't want to do is link my gamer tag to an account when I've already got one. So that's where there might be a problem. But we'll find out more, I guess, tomorrow, because the fan festival is tomorrow evening. I'm not sure what time it starts exactly, so we may actually stream a little bit of it while I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. Ah, right, I see. Yes, it's based on servers, so I just won't do it on my server. That makes a lot more sense. But I play on Light server, or Light Data Center, and I'm on Odin. That's an EU server. Unfortunately, NA and EU are separated as data centers. So if you're playing on NA servers, we likely won't see each other. But if you play on EU servers, we will be seeing each other. But either way, I do want to stream it tomorrow because I've got the event, the New Year's event that I want to get done, because they're giving a cool minion away, and I still want to do some of the content that's there. So, with that said, if you guys are around tomorrow, definitely feel free to drop in, hang out, and check out some Final Fantasy 14. But on that note, I am going to call it a night. Thank you so much for hanging out. Don't forget to leave that like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I will see you either tomorrow or in the next video. With that said, remain legend. Have a good night, folks.